Rabbi Isai, welcome back to Yerushalmi Terumot. We're nearly there, Rabbi Isai, nearly at the end. We are 11th Perek Halacha Gimel, which is roughly Kuf Aleph Amud Beis. And we're talking about the issa of squeezing fruit of Truma of Master Sheni to make drinks. Ein oisin timorim devash. We cannot use dates of Truma or Master Sheni to make date honey. Do not use apples to make apple wine. The grapes that grow in the autumn, don't make vinegar out of them. And similarly, you do not change them from their position. The truma of Master Sheni is considered a loss. Only olives and grapes only allowed to squeeze them to make oil and wine. Now, after we said the difference between Zaysim and Navim and everything else, there were other differences. You don't get lashes mishum arla, but drinking liquids of arla, only from the olives and the grapes. You cannot bring bikurin as drinks except olives and grapes. There's no dintumas mashke only with olives, olive oil, and wine. You cannot put liquids on the mizbeach, only the liquids that come from olives and from grapes. Now, uksei te'edin. These are sort of the stalks where the figs are connected to the tree, and grogros, or the sort of the stalks of the dried figs. Mahakalasim. Now they don't really know. It's maybe a type of fig. Haruvim shall truma, the calves of truma, asurin azarim. They are considered like the fruit itself, and they are forbidden to Yisrael.
Just 1 second.
Okay. So, according to the Mefarshim, some say you can't squeeze fruit of truma because you're ruining their chashivus, right? And it depends, what the fruit is there for, right? Is the fruit there for the drink, or is it for the fruit? Okay, so what have we got here? Reb Ila. So we said you can't bring bikurin as mashkin except from that which comes from olives and grapes. It sounds like you're allowed to bring bikurin from wine and oil. Reb Ila, B'Shem Reb Elazar, Kili in this way to read the Mishnah. Ein oisin. You should not make from fruit bikurim mashkin. Do not make drinks out of bikurim fruit. Ela yisman except olive oil and wine. Even after the Kohen has already received it. It's considered a hefsed to bikurim, just like you can't make liquids out of peros truma. Only olives and grapes, the Kohen who's received it can make drinks out of it. But to bring it into the base of Mikdash, drinks as bikurim, even olive oil and wine is forbidden. Right, it's a Mishnah in Chala. Yosef HaKohen, he brought his bikurim, the base of Mikdash from his wine or oil, and it was not accepted. Because you cannot bring wine and oil. Okay? Fine. But we've learned in a brayta, darach bikurim, if you squeeze out bikurim of olives and grapes, and you made a mashke, in order lahavian to bring it as bikurim based mikdash, minayin sheyavi, you're allowed to bring it, tamar lema tavi. So you're allowed to bring bikurim to the base of Mikdash in a state of wine or oil. So the Gemara answers, Tamar, over there, you gathered it, and the intention, when you gathered the fruits, was to bring it as a drink. So then it's chal on the mashke, kedushas bikurim, you bring it as bikurim. But when we said you cannot bring oil and wine, it's for you did not gather it in the beginning to make these liquids. Your kavanah was you're going to bring grapes, you're going to bring olives. Then you change your mind. So there's no chalois of kedushas bikurim on this wine or on this oil. Okay, they bring here the Bavli in Chulin Daf Kuf Chaf makes no distinction whether the grapes were gathered or the olives in order to squeeze the drink out of it or not. The Gemara brings another answer over there, another difference. He says if you separate the olives and grapes from bikurim and then you squeeze them, then you can bring the liquids. But if you separate the mashkin from bikurim, then you can't bring it. So we could answer still between our Mishnah and the story of Yosef HaKohen in Chala slightly differently. That the het of our Mishnah is when the grapes and the olives were separated from Bikurim, and then after that you squeeze it. And then you're allowed to bring it to the Beis Mikdash. Yerushalmi Cohen separated the wine and the oil for Bikurim, and therefore the Chachamim didn't want to accept it. Okay? Zeisim Shel Truma. Now you're allowed to make from olives or grapes of Truma, oil or wine. And ring a bright, we got Machlek. Zeisim Shel Truma, Yasu Shemen. Tahirim, if they're Tahir, Yasu Shemen, to make oil. Tameim, Lo Yasu, don't make oil, because you'll come and eat it. Anavim, grapes of Truma, Bein Tameis, Bein Tahir, Tamei Tahir, Lo Yasu, don't make wine. Because they're more chashuv to eat anyway. Divrei Rabbi Meir. That is the view of Rabbi Meir.
Are you worried about the hefsed of Truma when, like, if you press it or eat or make wine?
You may end up eating it.
But you're not worried about the chisaron, that there'll actually be less quantity.
No, Anavim Shel Truma. Don't make wine, because he wants. This opinion holds Achila is more chashuv. There's an argument. We're going to have an argument about it. Do you remember? Rabbi Yaakov Rabbi Yaakov in the name of Rabbi Meir. Squeezing olives and grapes is machlokes Rabbi Yeshua, but like Rabbi Yeshua zeisim tahirim, tahir olives, sheyasu. You can definitely make oil. Amar nachlaku, they're arguing on tameim, on the tamei olives. Rabbi Lezer lo yasu, don't make oil because you come and eat it. Rabbi Yeshua yasu, he says you can make oil. We don't have to worry you're going to come and eat oil, because you'll put it in a nasty keli. Anavim with grapes, if they're tahiras, then yasu, you can make wine. Tamei, so they're tamei, lo yasu, don't make wine. Because wine, you can't put it in a bad keli. And therefore, with wine, you'll come and eat it, drink it. Rabbi Yehuda said, why do Rabbi Yeshua? They agree with zeisim tahirim, tahir olives, sheyasu. He holds you can make oil. Amar nachlaku v'tameim, zeisim that are tamei. Rabbi Lezer lo yasu, don't make oil. You might come and eat it. Rabbi Yeshua yasu, you can eat it. You can make oil out of it. And Navim, grapes of Truma, Beintos, Beintameis Yasu, says you can always make wine and then pour it out. And you can get benefit from some of the pips and things. Rabbi Yechon said, Ma'id Rabbi Lezer Yeshua, he agrees with Zeisim Tahirim, Tahir olives, Sheyasu, you can make oil. And Navim, grapes, Tameis, with Zeisim Tamein, and Tamei olives, then of Truma, Layasu, don't make wine or oil, you'll come and eat it. Amar Nachluka, Navim Tahiris, Tahir grapes, Rabbi Lezer lo yasu, don't make wine, because grapes are more important than wine. And Rabbi Yeshua argues, Rabbi Yeshua yasu, you should make wine. Wine is more chashuv than grapes. So that's an argument, which is more important, grapes or wine. Okay? Kol Ravion. So you got Rabbi Yaakov, Rabbi Yehuda, and Rabbi, they all argue under Meir with tahir grapes, and they hold shiyasu, you can make wine. And that's not a loss, wine is more chashuv than grapes. Lama, why did Rabbi say lo yasu, don't make wine? Because he held chashuv his head, he held the grapes are more important. Lo eichel, yosef namashke, as a food more than a drink. Kol Ravion, you got Rabbi Yaakov and Rabbi, they all argue on Rabbi Yehuda with tamei grapes. But I shelo yasu, don't make wine, because we want you to come and eat it. Lama, why did Rabbi Yehuda say yasu, you should make wine? But you'll notice, you can get benefits after you heat it up, after you squeeze the grapes out, you can get from the pips and so on.
What?
What?
Oh, would you use it?
Fuel and things like that. Zeitim Tameim, Rabbi Rameir, they both hold you can't make oil. Chada, Rabbi Yaakov, Rabbi Yehuda, Chada. So Zeitim, Rabbi Rameir is Chad. There's one opinion there. Two people hold one thing. Rabbi Yaakov, Rabbi Yehuda, Chada, and they hold another thing that you can make the oil. So there's two Tanaim who hold against, for and against. So, what do we paskin? Very good question. We have no answer. The Rambam paskins we shouldn't squeeze tamei olives of truma lechatchila. Okay. Now, the stalks of some fruit of truma also to Israel. Rabbi Zira Shem Elazar, Ava Masnisa B'Mublayis Ba'Eichad. Mishnah is talking about those parts which are absorbed in the main part of the fruit, and that chelik is soft, it's considered a food. So Yisrael can't eat it, but the outer part of it, which comes outside the body of the fruit, is very hard. And that's not a food, that's wood. And that's permitted to Israelim. Rav Zeira, Kol the Trumas, all the Psakim in Trumas, which will have themselves Trumas, they did Taharas, themselves Taharas, Shemor, Shem Elazar, he heard them and received them, the name from Rav Elazar. Garine Truma. So you got the, now we're talking about the Garine, the pips and seeds of fruits. Garine Truma. Bisman shuhu mechansan, when you guard them, to look after them, we say you want to eat it. Therefore, hen asuras, they're considered like a food and forbidden Israelim. If the Kohen throws it, then it's not a food. Umutarais, and it's permitted to Zarim. Okay? The Rishonim argue about Garine Peros, so these like pips of fruit. Some say it's like a part of fruit min Torah. Some say it's not part of the fruit. And Mishnah is mashma like those who hold it's not part of the fruit min Torah, and therefore the Kohen throws it, it's permitted.
Well, just like it's wood. Not that it's not part
exactly.
of fruit.
It's got no kedusha at all. According to the arguers, you have to say the reason why if the Kohen throws it, it's permitted because the kedusha's truma is only because it's mitzvah machila. When the fruit's not choshuv, it's not going to be eaten. The kedusha goes away. And since the Kohen's already used the main fruit for eating, the kedusha is halal. It's like it's gone away, and these pips are permitted. Like we find with oil, where the Kohen's anointed with it, that it's lost its kedusha and it's mutter Yisraelim. Okay. Bones of kochim after zmanachila is manchum mechansan. When you guard them to eat it, they're considered like food. V'asurin, and they're forbidden if it's nicer. If you throw them away, mutar, they're permitted. Hamorsan is sort of a bran, a shell of wheat of truma. Mutar is mutar to Israel. It's not fitting for eating. Subin, which is again small clods, as it were, ground up of chitin. Chadashais asurais. The more moist ones are forbidden to Israelim because they're moist, and therefore the bran gets stuck, and flour fitting to eat. But the older ones is permitted because there's no flour mixed in. And a Kohen's allowed to be naeg with truma. Treat your truma k'derech shu naeg b'chulin, like you treat your chulin. So you take out the flour, the subin, the bran. It's not considered a hefsed truma if you just do it in the normal way. Hamasales, so you are sieving flour of truma many times, and it goes in each time with the sieve. The holes become smaller and smaller, and then you get this clear flour. After the filtering, you have maybe kav or kabayim, 1 kav, 2 kav of flour, lisar, out of a whole 6 kav of flour. Lo ya'abed es hashar, then what's left in the sieve, don't ruin that. It's still fitting for eating. It's still got kedusha. You leave it in a safe place. Megura, which is a storehouse of wheat. Shepina mimeno chite truma, and you've taken away the chitin of truma, and you've just got a bit of wheat seeds like scattered around. You don't have to start gathering all this wheat. One by one. You can sweep as normal. The chulin, you can put chulin inside it in the pips of truma, batel b'roiv in the chulin, and even though you can't be mvatel isel chatchila, here it's permitted. It's not. You're not putting it in megura the chulin because you're only putting the chulin there. You want to guard it there. You want to keep it there. It's not your intention is to be mvatel the truma. A barrel of oil of truma which got spilt on the ground, you can save a bit of it. You don't have to start wiping up every single drop of oil. You do whatever you would do with chulin, right? Some say, so they're allowing you to be mvatel the truma lechatchila. They didn't want to bother the tzibur with guarding truma. Some say it's an isur. The bittul isur lechatchila is isur rabbanon, and here they will make all with isurim. Some hold truma min haTorah you need to gather it. But it's talking about truma bizman hazeh, which is rabbanon, and that's why they were makel. Okay. Some say there's a special isur in mevatel truma. It's considered hefsed of truma. Here we don't forbid because that was the truma. You can use it like you would use chulin. Kilach barahu, it's not considered a hefsed. Okay. Let's carry on. A barrel of oil of truma which got spilt on the ground, you can only save some of it. You don't start wiping the whole floor. And you treat it the way you would do with chulin. Okay. If you're pouring wine or oil of truma mikadakad from one jug to another, and after the pouring stopped, the oil starts drooping or dripping, and bit by bit. So Nitiv Shlosha Tippin, there's 3 drops have dropped in, even though they're still a bit stuck to the walls of Truma. Notice in the Toicha Chulin, you can already put Chulin into that jug. Okay, once your 3 drops have come out, you can put Chulin in that jug. And whatever Truma is remaining, there's bottle in the Rova Chulin.
So it's also not considered food. It's just like lichlach on the side.
There's nothing left. It's the last bits which you wouldn't normally deal with. If after 3 drops have fallen out, you didn't put oil for Chulin, but you went b'hikina, you sort of bent it again on its side, or mitzvahs, and then you ended up with more wine or oil gathering in one place at the bottom of it. Harayz truma, you can't be mevatel it. So therefore you cannot put chulin in there until you take out the truma. But kama teva churas maser shel demai. How much can be churas maser demai to obligate you to yulachenu lokain, take it to the kohen? Echad b'shmoina l'shminis. 1 of 64 of a lug, which is 1 in 64 of a lug. Less than that, you do not have to take it to the Kohen. So we said if the Kohen puts these pips in order to guard it, then it's considered Eichel, also to Yisrael. We're talking about Kustamolin is a type of pear. Some say it's a type of small apple. So what we got here, these pips are these things. That these pips are very soft, you can eat it. Therefore, they're also, if the Kohen gathered it, the hard ones which can't be eaten are permitted, even if the Kohen gathered it. So I feel you're going to tell me that we're talking about the pips or whatever of the moist dates which don't get eaten. Yeah. And even though the Mishnah forbids them to Israelim, if the Kohen gathers them, we're talking about matzmates. Basically, the moisture hasn't yet grown in them. They're still hasn't gone away, and you can still suck them for this moisture. What was this again?
There's no chashash you'll plant the seeds and then you'll grow truma from the
truma? No, those are zeros. There's dinim about what happens if you plant it, but no. So what is this? Matzmates means they've not yet. They're still fitting for sucking, as it were. And we've learned in Mishnah, now these bones, now you're going to tell me these bones have got, the moisture hasn't been sucked away. That can't be. I mean, these bones are dry. They have no moisture in them at all. So, maybe they're very soft ones. They are fitting to be eaten. So these pips the Mishnah is talking about are these ones which themselves are fitting to be eaten, not like these other gavinim which are only fitting for sucking or whatever. Also, Rav Yochanan, he said, when the Mishnah said the bones of Hekdesh Baroshei Kanafayim Mas Chusin Timas Nisa, it's talking about their heads, the tops of the wings. Okay, that's what it's talking about. Right. So it's mashma, these bones are osam and rabbanon. So they'll make that if you throw them, they're permitted. Okay. Rashi and Sachim is mashma, they're bosa and they're osam and atera. But when you throw them, they're bosel from Toras Eichel, because many people won't eat it. Okay. Let's carry on. Subin shel chadoshes. So this bran of this wheat, the new wheat of Truma, is also to Zorin. We bring a price. So how long is considered new? People still hit it with sticks and not through an animal. 30 days after the harvest, it's still considered new grain. And we said if you're filtering it, when you have Silas Nikia, you got 1 or 2 kav to a sav kamach, then don't throw away the rest. Says 1 or 2 kav for a sar. We learned keli shiura. That is the share of filtering, of sieving, which you're allowed to do. But you can't do more than that. There should be less than a kav of flour to a sar of kemach, because then you've left behind a lot of good flour, and you don't usually eat the rest. It's considered hefsed. It's considered a loss. Yeah. Tani, we learned in a brisa with fruits of truma. You can filter it as much as you want. And when can it be yerek? You can remove the bad leaves of vegetable, kosher rice, whatever you want. And Rabbi Yochanan, so it's mashma actually, it's mashma, you can filter it even if you're going to have less than a cup of silas to a sal chitim. And he said, "But Mahmid al Trumasa." We're talking about a case where you're putting it on the shear as normal, so 1 or 2 kav to a salv chitin. You're not sieving more than you're meant to, right? You're keeping to the normal standards. Rav Yirmiyah, B'Shem Rabbi Lah, he said, "Kav b'shnei ra'aban." We're talking here about famine years. So in famine years, you don't sieve it so much. It'll be less than a kav to a sar. If you do that, you're ruining truma. Whereas Khan in the Brisa is b'shnei saiva in good years, then you'll sieve even till it's less than a kav to a sar. Taman Tanina, we've learned in areas, Mi'i avatiach, it's like pips of a melon of truma, kunuvas yerek, the leaves that are removed from vegetables of truma. Rav Daisa matir, lezarim, Raisa matir for Israelim, b'chachamim, Raisa forbid it. Rav Abav Shem and Lai Shanu, they didn't learn this argument, Ela v'kunuvas yerek shel ganonim. With the people who sell vegetables, they throw even the leaves that are still edible a bit, right? Because they want the fruit to look good, right? So they'll throw away some of the bad leaves. And this time, the Chacham said, look, if it's truma, it's also to zorim. And for knuvas yerek shebalabatim, when it comes to the balabatim, they don't usually throw away the leaves. Only the ones that are completely gone. After Rabbana, Maidan, the Chacham agree there's no kedushas truma, it's mutter to zorim, because they're not fitting to be eaten. And Rav Daisa held, even the gardener's yerek is permitted. They know that they're going to cut off these leaves. It doesn't really get a name truma at all. They're mutter to zorim. Rabbi Bun Bai, Leivis Sabra, does it not make sense to say that Rav Daisa allowed taking off these leaves, but truma gedola. With truma gedola, where you don't take on exactly, you always estimate. So you can say you don't really have intention of the Mefarish, the one who separates it for the leaves that are going to be cut off. Because you've got to share regardless. But Trumas Master, where you have to take it according to a fixed measure, then Eina Alin Truma La Alin. Then the leaves can't be Truma. The other leaves La Klachin, Truma La Klachin. And the other bunches can't be Truma, the other bunches. Even the ones you've detached cannot be Truma for the rest. And the Klachin. It makes more sense to say you intended to make all the leaves Truma, in order that you won't have less than the shear. Okay.
Yeah, but Trumas Maisos, the leaves aren't considered the fruit anyway, so how's that part of the shear? In Trumas Maisos,
you need to have exactly the amount
of food.
So fruit. So
here,
here,
Truma is food, but so the leaves are not really food.
These are bad leaves. So you have to take an exact amount.
So take the leaves off.
So the detached ones are not truma on the others. Let me just see what he says here. He says here, it sounds like the truma is chal, leaves for the leaves, and the stalks for the stalks. But don't take truma from the leaves for the stalks. We find the same thing with slaf. You can't take maisa from the kafresin and the trumas on the fruit. Sometimes there's a difference with the slaf. They have a name in their own right. They're important. Like 2 minim, you can't take one for the other. But the leaves don't have a name in its own right, it's just the name of the vegetable. So therefore you can make from them, take meister from them for the vegetables. Some say here again it depends the question, can it be mafish from a shell of a fruit for the fruit itself? Okay, that's a question about that. Alright. Where we? Rabbi Bun we did?
Yeah. Taman
Tanina. Yeah. Before that, we learned in our Mishnah, Hikina Meitzah. So we said after the 3 drops, if you poured it a bit to the side, and then a bit gathered at the bottom there, then it's truma. Taman Tanina. We learned in Mishnah Babasra, if one is selling wine or oil, and he pours it one jug to another, you have to pour out 3 drops after it stopped pouring, and what remains belongs to the seller. And even if afterwards the seller went to Hikina, he bent it on its side, Umeitzah, and again the wine gathered in one area, the remaining liquid Harav YCD belongs to the seller and not the buyer. And here we say, although you don't have to bend it and to cause all the truma to grind together, if you did it, it's truma. We should have said in the Mishnah about Basra, although you should not pour the liquid anymore for the buyer, but if it gathered, it should belong to the buyer. Less kanchal meicha. take out the words in the girsa belonging to the seller. Ella, the correct girsa is, if you bend it to the side, shalakeach, belongs to the buyer. And that's similar to what we said in our Mishnah. So you don't have to change the girsa. The truth is, the Mishnah tells you if you bent it, it belongs to the seller. The reason is Mishum Yush, because the guy's given up on it. One who buys it, you're miyash from what's left in the jug, right? You make it hefka. You can't be bothered waiting till everything comes out. So for the seller gets it. Now Mishnah, as far as truma, the oil remains with its kedusha even if it's stuck together, with the jug. But the chachamim are not matriach you to wait till it gathers, and they allow you to be mevatel it. So here already the oil is gathered in a place at the bottom. You cannot take it. You can't be mevatel it by just filling chulin into the jug. But after kodesh came, it's the same thing with kodesh. Oil set aside for a carbon. After you pour it from the jug, at the end of the pouring, you have 3 drops coming out. You don't have to do any pouring to get it to come together again. But maybe there were more machmir, and you have to gather all the oil and put it back into hekdesh. Azar Rabbi Yochanan says, "Va'afal kodesh kain." Same thing with kodshim, that once you've done 3 drops, that's it. You can pour it, use the rest as you want. Rabbi, his heta is with kodshim which are mutter to a kohen, like leftover flour offerings. After the ketores, the kometz, the levina is mutter to the kohenim. And they said once you've poured 3 jugs, 3 drops, and the kohen doesn't want to gather up all the oil and eat it within the zman, will never be mutter to the kohen, like yain nesachim, right, the wine of libations, or oil of menachos, which are going on the mizbeach. Afilu kol shehu, even you got a liquid, the smallest amount, tzorech lahachzi, you have to return it to hekdesh, because these were miyur, they were mukravim on the mizbeach. The Torah says you can't have anything lacking from their share. Rabbi Bunbach hereby has this, I think, look shemen shamatzara. Remember, the matzara has a log of oil. You sprinkle 7 sprinklings towards the Kodesh Kodashim, and you put it on the matzara, and the rest is permitted to the kohenim. What's the din when you pour it from vessel to vessel? Tzorech lahachzir, do you have to return the oil in the kanta hekdesh, even the smallest amount, or ein tzorech lahachzir? Well, you don't have to return it to hekdesh. You can just put chulin in it after you've poured out the 3 drops. We could say, since the Torah says that you have to sprinkle from a lug shemen, it's going to be complete. You mustn't have anything missing. On the other hand, the fact that you have to sprinkle something, obviously, the fact that you have to sprinkle, maybe it doesn't matter. It's going to lose a bit when you start sprinkling it.
You're talking about laxer as a clean or laxer as a shaman? You're talking about...
We're putting some back. What's left? What's remainder? So you could say, look, you have to sprinkle. Maybe it doesn't matter. The bit missing will be what the kohenim eat, but maybe it's done. You don't have to replace the oil. When you're moving it from keli to keli, do you have to gather it together, all the oil in one, to put it into hekdesh, right? Or maybe you don't need to do it. Okay.
Oh, but there's lots of shemen. Sorry, is that truma?
No, it's a like shemen on Matzorah. So it belongs to hekdesh.
So it's as a kodesh like that of a mizbeach, or that of
yeah. So the question is,
like do
you have to give do you have to give the remainder of the oil to hekdesh back again, or maybe you don't need to. You can just give truma or chulin, as it were, after the jug has dropped 3 drops. So he says like this: since the Torah says you have to pour from a lug shemen, so maybe it needs to be whole. On the other hand, the sprinkling, it's not really going to lose anything. What's going to be lost is what's the remainder eaten by the kohenim. Maybe it doesn't matter. In Temas you're going to tell me you have to return all the oil to hekdesh. Then if you didn't return all of it, then you're lacking in the carbon. Why? Because you have to pour from a whole lug, and part of it is missing. Whereas in Temesh if you say you don't have to return all the oil to hekdesh, and you return it all, then you've done a bit too much at the time of the carbon. If we don't require you to collect all the oil that's stuck on the keli, so then the share that's needed for a carbon is a lug minus that amount. If you're going to add that amount within the lug, you basically added on the share of the carbon. So we have another nusach. Ruchinna lo yamakin. Ruchinna did not say this. He holds once you brings Rav Hoshea, we brought the words about the look of the Torah, and he says the nusach is after Rav Hoshea, the Bnei Yeshiva asked from the Torah, he says, Rav Hoshea lo shana. When do we say the heads of oil of hekdesh and of kochim shesh lehem matirin, which are permitted to the kohen, but kochim she'ein lehem matirin, kafilu koshu, which is not permitted to other people, so you have to give it back to hekdesh. So the Bnei Yeshiva asked, "Well, they look shemen shom Torah." Now, with this look, like kochim kalim sheyesh matirin again, it's definitely like matirin. It's definitely like matirin. It's mutter to the kohanim, and therefore, b'tema, you still want to say zarech la'achzir, you have to return the oil to hekdesh, even the smallest bit. He says no. He says it's permitted for them. It's sheyesh le'eshlam matirin. It belongs to them. Kochim she'ein lehem matirin afilu kosher you have to return. He says the like shon of a Torah is like yesh lehem matirin. Let's see the notes on this. In the common Torah, if we say you don't have to, suck out the oil, so that mitzvah is not holy from the lug. So you should really return it to the lug. If it was part of the lug, you'd have to return it. Common Torah, the Torah says a share of a lug. But as far as eating truma, Torah didn't give a proper share. Although the mitzvah is part of the truma, then they were lenient, they weren't machayiv you the mitzvahs to come and eat it. Alright, let's carry on. Now for the words of the Bnei Yeshiva, now one thing is clear, the oil of the Torah, you should squeeze out the oil and return it to Hekdesh. You have to return to Hekdesh, even the smallest amount of oil. If you did not return it, you're over missing something in the share of the korban. Okay? Tiny of Chalafta ben Shol, Kedera Shabishal Bal Truma, a pot of cheres which truma has been cooked, Magila B'Chamish Shloshim Pamim, you bubble it up in water 3 times with diet, and then it's permitted. And you can pour cook chulin in it. Arabah, Ein Lemeidin Mimena. We can't learn from this about truma to Inyan Nevela. Now, as far as Nevela is concerned, if you cook Nevela in a cheres pot, Haggadah doesn't help. The Cheres doesn't bring out its blias at all, right? It's not going to help you. Rabbi Yossi said, Keshaite Kulmei Rabbi Bo. I asked Rabbi Bo. He says truma. Now, someone in Israel who eats truma, Avay Misa, he gets Misa with Yerushalmi. A nevela, however, is much more lenient. One who eats nevela is a loisas, so it's lashes. So truma is much more severe than nevela. And you're saying the din of truma is more lenient than nevela. You're saying that when he passes Gedera Shel Cheres to Zugat Sakana with washing it 3 times, that's with truma. But when it comes to nevela, there's no sakana. But truma is more chamor than nevela. Nevela is only lashes, whereas truma is bisveliv shemaim. But it's Rabba answered back. Commander Amar, like the one in Shrias, he says Me'elen Kiblu Alen. At the time of the Bais Sheni, they took on willingly the obligation of Maestros. But I tell you, there was no Chiyuv Maestros after the first temple was destroyed. And since Afrosha's Truma nowadays, Zenu Rabbanan, you can be lenient with Truma that got absorbed in the Kedera, but it isn't available as Ben Torah, therefore you cannot be lenient with it as a Torah. Rabbi Yusai Bashune Baikum Rabbanan. Tenina, we learned, after you got the 3 drops coming out of the jug, you bent it again, and they gathered the extra wine and the oil into one place. Harezu Truma, then it becomes Truma Asat Yisraelim, and you're saying that if the pot is absorbed with Truma, you can wash it 3 times, that's enough. But since Haggadah doesn't help for Cheres, for earthenware, we should worry maybe it will come and give out Truma again in a share which is not bottom in the Tavshil. And we said the Truma that comes from the Keli is also. So maybe it doesn't help. You're going to end up having Truma in this. So he answers back, Khan, here in the Brisa, the day ha'ur, through fire, bubbling it up 3 times, Nigal, then the Truma was cleaned, what was in the vessel, right? That which is in the walls of the vessel has come out and been purged. And it will come out. You don't have to worry, it will gather again. Right, we'll gather again there. Now, once we brought the din of truma, which has water, you put water to get a taste of wine. So it's shmorim, actually. It's shmorim of wine, of truma, where you put water to get that wine taste. And after that, you filter the sediment from the water, and again, you put other water, and you do it a few times. Arishon v'sheni also. The water that comes out first time and second time is also Israeli. It's got a taste of wine. But shlishim was the third time, it is permitted. But when is this word said? When you put water into this sediment. If you didn't put water in, you just put this sediment, the shmorim, the least, right, on the filter, and the wine came out. Then even third time round, also it's forbidden Israeli. Shmorim shamasa sheni. If you have wine of Maser Sheni, which you put water to get the taste of the wine, and then you filter it, and then you put other water. Rishayna, so the first time, the water comes first time, you can't drink it outside Yerushalmi, it's like Maser Sheni. And the water that comes second time, Sheni is mutter, is permitted outside Yerushalmi. Not like the Shmorim of Truma, where even the second lot is also. Reb Meir, he says, Hasheni. Also, the second water is also to drink outside Yerushalmi if the Shmorim are nice in town, if they give taste in the water. Rav Yochanan Shem Sadak HaKodesh, the Shmorim of wine of Hagdash, where you put water a few times to get that taste of wine, then the number of forbidden water is Kaminyana. Is like the number of water you put in. So there's no difference how many times you put water on the shmarim, they are all also. He holds no matter how much water you put in, they're all forbidden. Chasa, which is a piece of broken pottery, as it were, from a potty of some kind. Shel zav, of a zav, which is tameh, is absorbed from the waters of the zav. Then even after washing it, pam b'shayna, tameh, it's still tameh, because it's still got in it the bit of urine there. Have sheni, second time tar, and then it's tar. Second time, all the urine has come out. When do we say this is tar? It should be that the rinsing was by putting water, but if you didn't put water, you use someone else's urine to wash it, the tar person's urine, then afilu aseri, even 10th time, tameh, it remains tameh. Kama teheva trumas maser. How much is it worth if you have Trumas Maser? We obligate you to go and take it to a Cohen. He said 1 in 64 of a look. Rabbi Yehuda Ba'achtay to Rabbi Yosef ben Chanina. He said Rabbi Yosef ben Chanina. Pachas Mikad. If you have less than that share, nice and benero, you can put it in your own candle and burn it there. It shouldn't come to Takala. Now we said in our Mishnah, how much is Trumas Maser of Demai you take it to Cohen? 1 in 64 of a look. The share is as far as drinks. What is the share for foods? Rabbi Yana Shem Rabbi Yudan, Ba'aychel, food of Trumas Maser of Demai, the share which obligates you to give it to a Kohen is Kedei Beit Sakala, a small egg for cooking, chicken egg. If it's less than that, you don't have to take it to a Kohen, you can just burn it. Adana Tema, I'm not saying that the liquids which are less than 64th of a look, you don't take it to a Kohen, it's only but Tameh. But Trumas Maser of Demai is Tameh, Ach Kabeitza. And that which we said less than a base of food you don't take to the Kohen is then Batame. It's only then going to be burnt. Alright? It's got no chashivas. Aval tar, Trumas Maser Demai, which is tar and fitting to be eaten. After Kol Haloshon, you must give the smallest bit to the Kohen and tell him you've got truma for him. And the din of Mishnah is only Trumas Maser Demai. Aval Vadai, proper truma, whatever it is. Bein Tameh, Bein Tar, Bein Rai, Bein big amount, small amount, Tameh, Tar. So you have to return it to the Kohen. Okay. To be continued, Rabbi Stein. So where did we go today?